Bonjour! Welcome to Draw Tip Tuesday. Welcome to Paris. My name is Koosje Koenen and I am currently in Paris. And I have been teaching a workshop here, which I will be doing again next year. It's called Paris Sketchbook and I will be co-teaching it again with Cynthia Morris and Marcus McAllister. You can check that out on my website. But anyway, right now I'm going to draw in the streets of Paris. And I'm filming my process for you so you can see how I take decisions when on location. I hope you enjoy. How to capture a scene and do it all? Simple answer, you can't. So even though the thing that I really want to draw is the metro station entrance, I start with some color. I see those beautiful autumn colors of those trees, of that one tree and then the greens behind it. So I'll just start with that. You can't really see my palette in view, but as you can see, I am mixing a yellow, an orangey red and green. And I'm not being precise. I'm doing this real quick just to get the shapes, the general shapes. I don't have to be accurate. We'll see how it all lines up, if it all lines up in the end. But this at least is something on the page. I get over the blank page with this, the fear of the blank page. Just get something on the page. It's bright, it's colorful, and that's exactly what I'm aiming for. So those are my first marks on the page, so to say, a little bit of painting and a little bit of layering, not overthinking. Do not overthink. That is the main thing, my main tip that I have for you. And I know that it's really hard, but really it is just paper. So don't worry. Done with the painting. So I want to get rid of the palette, and then the paint, of course, is still wet. So I am using a water-soluble black pencil so that I can easily draw on top of the paint that is still damp without things bleeding. If I would use a pen, an ink pen, that would bleed. Or I would have to wait until everything is dried. Especially in Paris in fall, it's kind of humid, so it would take a long time. And I don't want to wait. I want to draw. I'm sitting here in the streets and I just want to draw. So that is a great way to overcome that little part, that little problem. I am drawing the entrance of the metro station and I'm also drawing the letters. Yes, I am drawing the letters. I'm not trying to write, I'm trying to draw the shapes that I see. This is how you do lettering. It's also drawing. And even though my pencil is getting a little bit blunt, it's not so easy to do it very accurately, but I think I can fit it all in. That is already a win. Even though that middle part of the page is really also not helping. But I'm doing it. And actually this is the most important part of my drawing because I wanted that metro stop sign, that entrance of the metro station in my drawing. There's also people passing by, so I draw them too. When you see people passing by, you have to be quick, but you can also do part of a person and then wait until someone else passes by and do the rest of the figure. In a city like Paris, that's easy because there's a lot of people around. And once you have people in, you can also use them as landmarks to see how high certain things should be in your drawing. Like how high is actually that railing of the metro station. I love these entrances of the stations. And can you imagine how great it feels if you want to take the metro and you are entering the subway, going under the streets of Paris through such a beautifully designed gate. And while I'm drawing, I can actually feel that the metro is coming and going below street level. I can feel the vibrations of it, which is fun and probably I won't ever forget. Every time I look at this page, I will think about that. Okay, here's a little transition. You see that my drawing is a little bit different than what I did just now. And that's because I forgot to hit record when I was doing this drawing. So what you just saw was another drawing that I did after it, replicating what I did so that you can follow the full process. This is what happens if you draw in the streets and you think you hit record and then you didn't. So let's move on. The main subject is that entrance of the metro. This is really what I find very important. If we are talking about storytelling, this is my story. Although I started with the colorful trees, my main subject is the metro entrance. I'm taking a little bit of time to draw all of it, but not too much. I'm not studying it like I would depict it all perfectly. I'm using a continuous line here and there to keep my line going and to keep it flowing. And then once I feel like I have the main things in, I can move on and see what else I can do here. There's people entering the subway station, so I will draw them. And most of this process is really decision making all the time. Just wait a little bit and look at your drawing, look around, look at what you want to include and how you can also abbreviate and simplify things, because that is often what happens. You want to include everything, but you need to be smart and you need to be creative. How can I indicate that there's people in the background? How much of the shops, windows, balconies, all of that, how much of it do I actually want to include in my drawing to tell my story, to capture the place in a way that I feel like I describe it in the right kind of way? I'm moving over to the tree because that feels like the right thing to do as a little bit of a break. And you can see how I use my pencil. I do sort of continuous line and I turn my pencil so that I create a very unpredictable and organic lines, so that I don't get into the detail of trying to draw every single leaf of the tree, but I still do want the texture of the shapes and of the leaves without getting into detail or perfection. Does that make sense? Don't overdo this, because then it becomes like a whole curly bunch. Just try and give it a little bit of playfulness and a little bit of rhythm and leave some air in there. And because I drew those leaves, now I think there's not enough emphasis on my main subject. So I go back to it, the gate of the subway. So I'm using my waterbrush to dilute my pencil and make that gray. So I'm basically coloring it gray, and doing that I also alternate with drawing a little bit more, just skipping around the page. It's a little bit of a dance, it's a little bit of trying everything. Thinking about, what do I see? What do I want in here? What's next? What's important? How can I use my tools to describe the place? So what you're seeing here is the process of drawing on location. I found this place, I came by it, I was like, this is awesome, I want to draw this. So I found a spot, I'm sitting not very comfortably, but it's working. And finding a spot to sit, you need to be creative also about that. Thinking of where you want to sit and what do you want to draw. And I know that when I sit down for this, I know what I want to draw, but I have no idea what the drawing will be looking like. I see the things that interest me, to look at the metro station, and also maybe the building that's next to the tree that I haven't drawn yet, but I don't know what I will actually be drawing. I have no idea what the drawing will be like. When you start drawing, you never know what is going to happen, and that is part of the fun of drawing and of the sketchbook. You are learning as you go, and you are taking decisions as you go. When you might say, well, every time I draw, it doesn't turn out like it is in my head. But if you think about it, what was it exactly in your head? Do you actually have a particular drawing perfectly set in your mind? Or is it more the idea of a perfect drawing as an end result? And then you are sort of disappointed that it's not that? Well, is it disappointing, or can it be a fun surprise? Let your sketchbook surprise you. Let your creativity surprise you. Trust the process, because it's just so much fun to explore and find out how to use your tools and how to figure things out. And then you will find all kinds of discoveries and surprises, which is just so much fun. Because I want the emphasis to be on the entrance, I added green to it because the color of it is green, and I think that was the right thing to do. Now that I've done that, I want to add a little bit more in the background. I love that kiosk that is over there, and it's pretty much a dark square shape, so I guess I can do that. And if I add that, it will give more story and more context to the drawing. The great thing about using water-soluble tools is that you can create different kinds of textures, and you can easily create shadows and stuff like that. I don't need my watercolors right now. I can just use the tools that are in my hand. I also use it for drop shadows already on the ground, and now I'm also using it for the inside and under the awning of the kiosk. And there's all kinds of things going on inside there. Just making a few marks with the brush to create the idea of different sizes and shapes and products. Now that I've done that, it feels a little bit bare on that left-hand side of the page. Luckily, there's a beautiful lamp post over there, so I draw that. And I create kind of a frame for what is happening on the right-hand side of the lamp post. And now that I have drawn that lamppost, I also see that there's another one further up, and so I add that to create a little bit more depth. People are on the streets walking by, so I'm drawing another person. My hand is in front of it. Sorry about that, but there she is. And the way I use my brush pen is really just quick and a little bit messy, and I love the messiness and grittiness of it. Especially when you are on location, you don't want to slow down by having to be very accurate and precise and neat. With the quick strokes, I think that adds liveliness to your drawing. I'm adding a few of the rooftops. It's not really in view, but you can get the idea. I'm adding a line drawing just peeping out behind the trees. The camera didn't capture that, but you get the idea. And I'm also adding a little bit of a wash so that those rooftops, those iconic gray rooftops in Paris, are now actually gray. And I think that all that I need now is a little bit more indication of the trees, of that light green wash now. I'm trying things and I don't really like what's happening over there on the right hand side. So I'm trying to correct it and fix it, and now it's all smudgy and I really don't love this, but it's all part of the process. So I'm just going to ignore it for a little bit while I think about that. And I'm going to do a little bit of work on the left hand side and add a little bit of sky as well. And then I decide to do some more mark making. Adding more layers of gray. And now on this right hand side, I'm thinking, how can I cover up this smudginess? Well, not really covering up, but how can I distract from it? Hey, there's another lamppost over there. It's not exactly there, but I can move it. I can edit what I see. So I put that lamppost over there, and that will distract from the messiness over there on that side. So again, I am taking decisions as I go, and those are just simply solving problems in a creative way. Creative problems that I created myself, that I'm solving myself in a creative way. I'm adding a little bit more texture for the buildings over there. That will also solve that problem, and I think adding just a little bit more green might actually finish this up. So whenever you encounter a mistake or something that you don't really love about your drawing, just keep going. Keep adding love and attention and layers. Don't overwork it, but you won't overwork it that quickly. Just embrace the messy middle of a drawing and think about how can I solve things instead of thinking about how can I fix this mistake. Which I don't think is the right mindset, but more think about how can I make it better? How can I solve this? What can I do to make me feel better about this? And sometimes it's just putting something in the foreground and then it's completely distracting from the thing that you didn't love in the first place. I'm pretty happy with the result here. I really enjoyed the process sitting here in the streets, and I even did part of it again, which you saw in the beginning of this video, because I forgot filming the first part. So that's how much I like it, and that's what I do for you, my Draw Tip Tuesday viewers. Thank you so much for watching.